Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 263 of the On Air Advocate. We're at the On Air Advocate. We look to provide education, support, and empowerment for all of those with different abilities, mental and medical illnesses, and their caregivers. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Tammy Flynn, and I am the host and producer of the On Air Advocate. And I am super excited if you are here joining us this morning or whether you are catching this on the replay. Now, as always, if you think any of the content that we are talking about today could be relevant for anyone in your network or your circle, please hit the share button and share the love with all the people on any social media application that you might be watching this from. Well, if you guys have tuned in lately to the On Air Advocate, you know that we've kind of switched our focus for the month over to National Nutrition Month. And this is honestly a topic I could talk about all day long. It's not just one month of the year. And with that, I am so excited to welcome Rachael Stricker. She is a nutritional therapy practitioner. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and this is your first time to the platform, and
It
I'm
is.
so excited to get to know all about what a nutritional therapy practitioner is. But before that, can you just let us know a little bit about Rachel, a little bit about your background?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And I am super excited to share about what an NTP does. Nutritional Therapy Practitioner is like a mouthful, so we can just call it an NTP for now. But yeah, thanks. So I am live here in Wisconsin. I'm a wife to my amazing husband. We've been married for 18 years. I have two teenage daughters, a 16-year or almost 16 years old, and a 14-year-old, and then we have a bonus 7-year-old little boy. I am obviously wife, mom, real food lover, essential oil user, Jesus follower, NTP, and I really firmly believe that a really good, nutrient dense, colorful whole food diet is the true and primary source of nourishment for our minds, bodies, and souls. So thanks for having me.
Yes, and I'm so excited because I was already quizzing Rachel before I hit the go live. I'm like, I have this question to ask you.
I love it.
And so I would love to dive into you said NTP,
Yeah, nutritional therapy practitioner. It is a mouthful.
what they do and what that is all about.
Thanks. Yeah. So it's kind of funny. My kids, this is gross. I'm sorry. They call me a diarrhea teacher. And not necessarily that's what I do, but I do really help individuals look at their diet. What the role of an NTP really is that we love to empower individuals to become knowledgeable and responsible for their own health. And we do that, or I do that by helping clients work towards developing personal health goals by using nutrition and lifestyle strategies to support them and really look into the why or the root cause of maybe some of the dis-ease or symptoms that individuals are experiencing. And we're not really interested in slapping a band-aid on some of the symptoms that our clients are experiencing, but we're really, again, looking deep into the root cause of why something is happening.
And I know when I was reading about some of the information you sent me, so much of this is not just the physical stuff, but all those emotional handles, mentally, all of that. So, how does all of that play a role in our diet?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Really, our diet and the lifestyle, the foods that we're choosing to eat, the foods that we're choosing not to eat, really play a huge part in our overall health and wellness. And like you said, really does affect our mental health, our emotional health, our physical health, and even our spiritual health. And nutritional therapy really looks at 5 foundations, let's say. And those foundations are we look at digestion, we look at blood sugar regulation, we look at fatty acids, we look at mineral balance, hydration, which is what we talked about. And then we also like to add in a portion of how well are you sleeping? What's your stress level and how much movement are you getting during the day? And so when we look at those 5 pillars or 6 pillars, we really get a good holistic view of what's going on with an individual and their overall health. It's a really a holistic perspective because we're all bio-individual people. We all experience life differently. We experience food differently. We experience movement differently. And it's really, being a nutritional therapy practitioner is just a really beautiful way of like looking at someone's holistic health and wellness.
Now, when we talk about stress and we talk about this last the year 2020,
Mm.
2021, when we talk about digestion and all of that, how does stress play a role in that? Because I feel like all of America might be having digestive problems right now.
Yeah, we are stressed out. We're a stressed out group of people. We really are, whether it's 2020, 2021, or even just our lives of
Mm.
go, go, go all the time, busy. It's like someone asks you, how are you? Great, I'm busy. We kind of wear that like as a badge of honor, but really stress affects our digestion in a bunch of different ways. And just because we're able to go doesn't mean that we're going well. And so
Right.
I had a really good friend say this in a class that I was taking of hers. And she said that we are currently living in a preconditioned state for trauma right now. And stress and that preconditioned state really affects how we digest our food. And so, that saying, you are what you eat. We've all heard that. Well, really, we can break that down as a nutritional therapy practitioner. We can break that down into a statement: you actually are what you digest. And so maybe some individuals are currently feeling some of these symptoms of being stressed, having a stressed digestion, and those symptoms can be headaches, heartburn, stomach aches after eating, burping, gas, bloating, maybe you have diarrhea or constipated. Those are all symptoms. And symptoms are the way that our body speaks to us. Those are all symptoms that we potentially could have a stressed digestion.
And
So,
so when we are stressed, though, our body doesn't. I remember when we chatted, you were telling me about, does it not break down the food the same way because it's kind of like a disrupted system?
yep, yep. I'm so glad that you brought that up. The question is, do you know where your digestion actually begins? That's a question that I ask every class that I teach, every client that I work with one-on-one. That's the first question that I ask when we talk about digestion. So, do you know where your digestion begins? I'll
Um,
tell you. But if you want to guess, yeah,
but
please.
no, it's only Wednesday. Maybe on Friday. No, not today.
Well, the common answer is in our mouth.
Okay.
And so, really, where our digestion begins is in our brain. And the moment that we begin to think about food, talk about food, we're cooking food, we're looking through recipes, we're at the grocery store, the moment that we begin to engage our brain in the process of thinking about food, we begin the digestive process. And so we have these two cool systems that regulate or this one system that regulates our bodily functions, and that's called the autonomic nervous system. And that system functions to control our heart rate, our respiratory rate, and our digestion. And this system is home to our fight or flight response. Have you heard of fight or flight before? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what comes to mind when we think about fight or flight? We think adrenaline, rapid heart rate, you're on edge, you can't think straight, you're trembling. This is a space where our digestion survives. And we all know that like thriving is where we want to be, not just surviving. And so many of us are currently surviving.
So,
And yeah,
oh,
go ahead.
go on. No, you
I was
can.
going to say, it's also home to our parasympathetic nervous system. And think of your parasympathetic nervous system as like the best, the warmest, the most relaxing vacation that you've ever been on. That yoga class where you felt the flow, or even a work project where you're in it, you're doing it, like you just feel so free. Or that time when like maybe you felt this overwhelming sense of peace wash over you that comes from something otherworldly. For me, that's the presence of the Holy Spirit. But for other people, that's something completely different. And that's actually the system, the nervous system, our parasympathetic nervous system is a place of rest and digest. And that's where our digestion thrives. And so how often are we eating out of a sympathetic state, and how often are we eating out of a parasympathetic state in our lives?
Right. Probably more out of the stress point. I always wish that I was one of those people that when you're stressed, you don't eat.
Yeah. Well, it's so common for us. We get stressed. We're emotional eaters, the comfort food, the ice cream, or even a glass of wine or a beer or something like that. Like we long for that feeling of stress to go away. But when we are stressed and we do eat, our digestion just doesn't do what it's supposed to do. We don't get enough saliva in our mouth. We don't get enough stomach acid, which is really, we need a robust stomach acid to begin to break down our food. We don't get enough bile, and bile helps to also break down food. Like we just don't get enough, and we just don't support our digestion the way that we need to when we're eating in a really quick sympathetic state.
Right. And because this is National Nutrition Month, but like I said, we should be doing
Yeah.
this every day, not just
Yeah.
because we're made
Good
aware.
stuff.
What would you say some tools that people could take away today that they could start today actively when they log off of this live, or if they listen to it on the podcast? If you're logging off, that you're going to start to, these are some simple things that you can integrate into your life to do each and every day.
Yes, I love it. Okay, I have 5 different things that you can do that you can start today that are super easy, and it has nothing to do with an elimination diet, which that's a whole other conversation. They're very simple, simple steps. The first one is to practice mindfulness. Now,
Right.
how often do we get into a space where we're actually present? Mindfulness is really being present in a moment, in the moment, in this moment right here. So get yourself and your body into a parasympathetic state, which is where, again, our digestion thrives. And what that looks like, take some deep belly breaths. Breathe from your belly. Put your hand on your belly instead of breathing up here from your heart. Sympathetic, parasympathetic on your belly. So take some deep belly breaths before you eat, no matter what you're eating. And notice your food. Take a look at it. Like, look at your food. What color is it? What does it, smell like? What does it feel like? Really engage in the food that you're about to eat. And then always offer a prayer if that's your thing. Offer some gratitude for the food that you're about to eat, and then dig in. So
Mhm.
practice some mindfulness before eating. That was number 1, but that was a long number 1.
Anyone's watching and they can click that in the comments. I can't do that during this segment, but you guys can. So mindfulness. I know that when I spoke with someone, blueberries are my favorite thing to eat. They
Mhm.
talked about that, where taking like the blueberry and actually like looking instead of shoveling them in your mouth,
Yeah.
as you're going, but actually thinking about how they taste, how the skin is, how the inside is, to really, have enjoyment of the food, but probably to put yourself into that appropriate state.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very, very great and simple thing to do. My second tip would be to chew your food. We often do not chew our food well at all. Maybe a 4 or 5 bite kind of thing, and it's really hard to chew our food when we're super comfortable with taking a giant bite of food, like really trying to stuff our mouth. And you really should be chewing each bite of food 15 to 30 times. So,
Who does that?
super fun game. I know. Super fun game to play with yourself. See
Mhm.
how much you chew and see if you can get your chews per bite to 15 times. It sounds gross, but before we swallow our food, in order to like elicit proper digestion, our food needs to be the consistency of a smoothie. So, how often are we swallowing or chewing our food? Um,
That's going to
that
take
that
them
much.
all day. That sandwich will take them, and then you know what? That leads to weight loss, right? If it takes us 2 hours to eat our sandwich.
Yes, and your body begins to actually connect, like your stomach, which has been coined our second brain, or our gut is coined our second brain. There's a lot of beautiful, beautiful research being done right now on our gut brain barrier. And when we slow down, then our stomach, our gut signals our brain that we're full and we don't eat as much food instead of just getting through the whole plate quickly.
Okay, so
So,
mindfulness is number one.
yeah.
Number two is
Chew.
chew your food. And we're at 15 to 20 times per bite?
15 to 30. But start with 15.
All right.
Okay.
Three.
Number 3 is really become aware of the amount of processed food that you're eating, processed carbs, as well as the sugar that you're consuming. And sugar is in everything. A very quick Google search of names of sugar will reveal a list that's 50 names long. So really become aware of how much sugar you are eating on a regular basis.
You said sugar, so all your process. And is there a good list or a good resource to go to where you can find lists of like the sugariest foods or the most processed foods? I mean, some people would know things that are prepackaged, canned, items have more
Mhm.
processing in them. But is there any good resource for that? So individuals, because sometimes people just don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And I would really encourage anyone out there to really Google names of sugar. And when you buy something and maybe you're on a healthy journey and you go to the store and you look at your box of food, which is actually my fourth tip. This kind of segues into that. Eat real, colorful food that you recognize. Stay away from the 3 Bs: bags, bottles, and boxes. But if you Google names of sugar and you take that packaged food that you're buying that seems to be healthy, don't look at the nutrition label, look at the ingredient label, and really be mindful of what is there. Can you pronounce a lot of those words on that label? If you can't, or you don't recognize them as real food, it's most likely processed, it's most likely sugar.
Right? Everyone take everything out of your cabinet.
But you know what? That's what's so great about working with a practitioner like myself is
Mhm.
that we don't just send you the list or don't just send you the modifications for a diet, but we really walk alongside of you so that your journey to overall health and wellness, like you can rock and roll, you can feel comfortable 3 weeks later, going to the grocery store and picking out some foods that are better for you. So that's the
So
beauty of working with
arming them
someone
with
like me.
tools they need to make sure they're making the right choices because
Absolutely.
sometimes we don't know. So you were talking about the bags, bottles, and boxes. So
Yeah, the 3 Bs.
bags, bottles. So that's number four. So anything that's in a bag, anything that's in a bottle. And what would you say the top things in those areas that you see that people purchase?
Well, the top things that I see, you mean food or ingredients wise?
Either or.
Well, food typically we buy a lot of snack food. Like we've been conditioned that we need to snack all day when really we need to eat 2 to 3 balanced meals. We don't need to snack. Our kids are conditioned from the moment that they walk into school to snack every 2 hours. And it's really we don't necessarily need that. Not everybody needs that. So we buy a lot of snack food. We buy a lot of boxed healthy food. We buy a lot of pre-made meals. And so a lot of those ingredients have canola oil, corn oil, vegetable oil that are all highly, highly, highly inflammatory. Not made from vegetables at all, made from seeds. And those oils are so, so unstable. Half the time rancid before they even go into a product and cause a lot of systemic inflammation. Sugar, like I said, sugar is really in everything. And this is not a judge, like go into your pantry and really begin to read some of the labels. Take your favorite salad dressing. I'm going to guarantee there's at least 3 different types of sugar in there. And there's some type of canola, vegetable, corn oil in there too. So,
So with that, what would you say your favorite cooking oil is that you use?
oh, I love a lot of cooking oil because I love fat, which is again a whole other, I think a whole other podcast. But my favorite is avocado oil. My second favorite would be coconut oil, and I love a really good rendered beef tallow. It's beautiful for cooking vegetables and eggs and things like that. And those are my 3 favorites.
We're gonna have Rachel back so she can break down where we find these types of things
Yes,
once we
yes.
once we have them. But that's always good to know what to cook. Because I know olive oil. Everybody always talks about olive oil. Do you feel like that sits in the same caliber as this, or is that just more a buzzword? You know that a lot.
No, olive oil is great. I like olive oil. It'd probably be my fifth Um, my fifth choice, only because I'm super sensitive to taste, and olive oil has like a really earthy, a very good quality olive oil has a really earthy taste, and sometimes it just doesn't work well for me. Personal preference in a salad dressing or something like that. But olive oil is great. You have to be really careful with olive oil. You need to make sure that it's sustainably sourced, because some olive oils that we get, some of like the larger brand names that you get just off the grocery store shelf that are in a clear bottle, clear plastic bottle, those oftentimes have some other kind of oil mixed into them. So sunflower oil or corn oil or vegetable oil mixed into the olive oil. So you really want to get a high quality dark glass bottle of olive oil if you're getting olive oil.
All the olive oil is in a plastic bottle right now.
Yeah.
Done.
Awareness. We're here to bring awareness.
Yes, clarity on a whole lot of things this morning. Okay, and then number
5, drink water.
5. Yes.
That's my fifth tip. Drink water. Most Americans are walking around in a chronic state of dehydration. Sad. Our kids are walking around in a chronic state of dehydration. Probably the most hated question in my house is, how much water have you had to drink? So anytime someone comes home with a headache or cramps or I don't even know, they've had a bad day, they're hangry, they're just not feeling it. It's always, how much water have you had to drink today? We have hundreds of dollars worth of metal, super beautiful, reusable water bottles. Use them. Fill
Right.
them up with water.
And as you were talking to me before this segment, there are different types of water that we should be aware of versus our tap. Even if we're in an area that our water is supposed to be safe to drink,
Yep.
what would you say the things people should be looking for when they're purchasing a water bottle?
Yep. So if
Water.
you're purchasing water or you have like a reverse osmosis system at your home, I know a lot of people have those, but you're really looking for mineral rich water. And so that can come in the form of, it'll say on the bottle, mineral water, and it's not the bubbly water. It's a flat, still water. So you're looking for mineral rich water. You're also looking for spring water if you can get that. If you can't get either one of those or they're too pricey, adding a pinch of quality sea salt to your water provides the minerals that you need to stay hydrated and maintain hydration.
Okay. And for that sea salt, you gave me is there a particular name or type of sea salt you want to go with?
Yep, we're not looking at like our white table salt. You're looking for the pink Himalayan sea salt, a good quality real salt. Redmond is my favorite brand of real salt, but you're looking for a quality Himalayan sea salt or a quality real salt. It'll say real salt on it. And usually it's gray, sometimes like white, it's more coarse. You're not looking for real fine salt.
And are you talking putting one little dollop in, one little cube in, one little pinch?
A
And would that
pinch.
be every water, you know what I'm saying, that you drink,
Mhm.
or would that be just for 8 ounces for the day that you put the salt in?
You can do it with every other water. We're supposed to be drinking half of our body weight in water a day. You can do it with every other bottle of water that you're drinking. The first bottle should be the mineral rich water that you're drinking in the morning, even before you put, coffee or tea or whatever is your morning drink. But drinking half your body weight in water, adding a pinch of that sea salt, you're not trying to make your water salty.
Okay. And this month, aside from being National Nutrition Month, yesterday was like World Water Day, and I believe it is not world, it's National Water Month. Um,
Okay.
it goes all month long.
Good.
So if that doesn't encourage everybody enough to start this nutrition now and drink water, it just gives us more reasons to do that.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So, Rachel, you have just been fabulous this morning, giving us so much information to really get going on our nutrition. Can you let the folks to know that are viewing or who may watch this later, where is the best place to find you if they want to get in touch with you?
Sure. So you can on Instagram a lot actually. And my Instagram handle is at Mrs. Strikeforce. That's me. It's a long story. And then on Facebook, just under Rachael Stricker. And then I have a website also, and that is RachelStrickerNTP.com.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
When we log off the show, I'm going to have you in the comments on Facebook, and then I'll transfer it over to YouTube and everything. Type in those handles so that it's easy and accessible for everybody if they want to, quiz you.
Yeah. I love quizzes.
And all that. So thank you so much, Rachael. I am so looking forward to you being, back on again so that we can dive a little bit deeper into some of these different topics. But I appreciate you being part of our National Nutrition Month.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I'd love to come back and talk about, there's so many different things that we can talk about. Thanks, Tammy.
Thanks again. And for all of you watching, if you guys want to know any more about the services that the On Air Advocate offers, you can head on over to onairadvocate.com and you can find them all right there. So with that, everybody have a fabulous Wednesday. Thank you again, Rachael. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.